There's that beautiful headshot. Whitney, can you hear me?
Yep, I'm coming. I have my default not to turn on my video on my Zoom, apparently. I don't want to get caught off guard.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Hi, Whitney.
I am good. I am going to
Hi.
spotlight you real quick. And everybody say hello and welcome to Whitney.
Hi, Whitney.
Hi, Whitney.
Hi.
So Whitney, I want to make sure that you are viewing this in the best way possible. You can either if you go up into the upper right-hand corner, or upper right-hand corner, you can either view in speaker view, which will probably be me on the screen, or you can go to gallery view and you'll be able to see everybody on screen. So I've got you spotlighted in the upper left-hand corner. And for those of you that currently aren't on mute, go ahead and put yourself on mute. That way we just don't hear any background or anything. And we will get started. Whitney, we have some celebrity YouTubers here with you. We've got
I'm like,
we've got
Courtney. I can't believe Courtney is on her computer right now with all the stuff she dealt with this week. You're such a good friend. Thank you for coming.
I think she needed a break and she's got heat.
Yeah, right.
Just
think about something else.
Hey guys, before we jump into anything too, I want to let you all know, I'm going to do a screen share real quick. We have a sponsor tonight and it is Shorebonder. And Shorebonder is going to be giving away a couple items. So let me do a screen share. Actually, I'm sorry. They'll be giving away one item. I don't want to overpromise them, but you have a choice. So you can either decide on the Lily Edition cordless corded detail tip mini glue gun. And I hope you can see it on screen here. It is the high temp mini size with the extended detail tip. It's got the insulated nozzle cover. I have this one. It's not the Lily Edition. Shorebonder, if you want to send it to me, I will gladly take it. But this is so much fun. This is a great glue gun. It's probably my favorite. And then you can also pick between the USB high temp hot glue gun, which is also really cool because it actually charges in your USB port. So a little later on, we will let Whitney pick who the winner is going to be. But now let's get back to Whitney. How are you holding up with COVID and everything going on?
I'm good. COVID has been a year of crazy. The people that, watch my channel know that I had a baby about 10 days before the world shut down.
Okay.
So I think, that'll change your life irregardless of a global pandemic. So that was a little crazy. And I've been open with, it's been crazy having a kid and, trying to deal with all of that, but things are good. Actually just ran up here after getting Finn all ready for eating his dinner. So overall, it's been going good. I've got a great support system around me, my husband and my family, and friends. So overall, good stuff.
Amazing. So tell me, where are you from? What part of the country are you in?
I'm in Illinois. I grew up kind of north central Illinois, super, super small town. And now I live in the western suburbs of Chicago.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool.
A little bit bigger of a town.
I did pour a drink in your honor. I have some whiskey here.
I love it.
It is some Tattersall, and it is a rather large pour. So hopefully I will get through this evening without making a fool of myself. So you're from Illinois. Your mom, by the way, is also on. I forgot to introduce her when we were introducing.
Yeah. I see my mom, my mother-in-law is on, and my sister-in-law.
Who's your mother-in-law and sister-in-law? Are they the ones that aren't sharing their photos?
Rachel Wave.
Oh, Rachel.
My sister-in-law.
Rachel's very quiet when she joins. So what's going on?
And then Marianne just popped on. That's my mother-in-law. So we've got tons of support tonight.
Very cool. Very cool. So I'm curious, how long have you had your YouTube channel?
So this particular channel, I started in 2015, but I haven't been doing it that long.
Okay.
I posted maybe like 4 videos and then had a wedding to plan. So I went on a hiatus. And then I started back up in the fall of 2018. So this fall will be 3 years of, really doing it.
Really hustling. And I mean, obviously it's paying off because you're over 60,000 subscribers, I think right now.
Yeah, just in the past month. So big milestone.
And I know when we talked earlier, you focus on, you do a lot of stuff with Cricut.
I do.
And tell us how that relationship started.
So I actually, for I think it was a birthday gift, I'm trying to remember, but my parents actually got me my first Cricut as a gift because I wanted it for my wedding.
Ah,
I started watching YouTube videos and saw people were making signs and table numbers and all these things. And I went on Etsy and with a quick like tally up of what it was going to cost for what I wanted to do for the wedding, it was going to be crazy. And so I roped in Alex, my husband, and said, okay, we're going to stain stuff. My brother helped, Rachel
nice.
helped, my parents helped. So started doing that. My whole wedding was pretty much DIY to the point that when my brother gave his toast, he shouted out all the things that we made. It was that much of a DIY wedding.
Nice.
Um, but it felt like us and it was awesome. And I just fell in love with Cricut at that point. And then when we bought our house, I was able to do a lot of things that I had saw online to create. And then actually Courtney mentioned that Cricut was looking for some YouTubers to do some content. So lucky enough that they wanted to work with me. And so now I've started to work with them on multiple videos. But really it started with, I just love the Cricut brand. I would stand behind that, whether they were a sponsor on my channel or not.
Nice.
If you walk around my house, 90% of my decor is made with my Cricut and I love it. So it's
Nice.
nice to be able to share it with other people because I know you can get a machine and it can be pretty overwhelming. Like, what
Yeah,
do I plug in? How do I get this? How do I make this look
absolutely.
like this thing? And so, the best comments I get are when people are like, okay, I feel like I can get my Cricut out of the box now. Like, that
Yeah.
is like, yes, I
Yeah.
feel like I did something good
Right.
there.
I was amazed on how many people, because I recently became a Cricut. I don't know if it's ambassador or influencer or what it's called, but they sent me the Cricut Maker, and a lot of people, a lot of comments were like, "Oh my God, now I'm going to take it out of the box," and I'm like, "What?" Like that's the first thing I did. I immediately took it out of the box, and I just kind of looked at it, and I was terrified for quite a while of it. But yeah, that's funny. So then you were a Cricket fan long before they like actually started sponsoring you.
Oh yeah,
That's
for
cool.
years. I mean, I
Very
used
cool.
Cricut before I had even had my channel.
Nice.
Um, so yeah, it was definitely a
It was
match
easy for
really made. Well, oh
you. Yeah.
yeah, I was using them anyway. I mean, it was
Nice.
just a
Very
perk at
cool.
that point.
Very cool.
So yeah.
And then I'm sure I know Cricket. You said you love them, whether they would sponsor you or not. I'm sure glue, like your glue gun, is it's a Sure Bonder, right? Or at least you love the Sure Bonder brand as well.
I do. I actually burnt myself today. That was user
Oh,
error, but
good.
yeah, I've got 3 different versions of theirs. I started out with one of those cheap like Michaels ones, and once that finally crapped out, I was like, okay, I need to invest. And all my friends that have YouTube channels love Surebonder, so I
Yeah.
had to check it out. But yes,
Yeah.
no, I definitely use them now.
I'm shocked on like just some of their glue and such. I am a huge fan of their wood glue sticks that they sell to actually put in the glue guns. And so now I have like 4 of them. And each gun has a different, glue type in there. So and then the Cricut is still in the corner. I'm still trying to figure out the Cricut, but I know I'll get there. I'll get there. I'm not too worried about it. So I'm
I feel like
curious.
it's a snowball. You'll start doing it and
Yeah.
then you'll just keep making things.
So I've started even upgrading. Like I'm looking at some of the blades for like the for cutting some of the wood veneer and
Mhm.
some of the engraving on the metals and such. So I'm going from vinyl like straight in. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I have all my fingers and everything when we're done. So I am curious, is Carol where you get the crafty side of, where's that from? She's shaking her head no.
No, it's not. And it's actually funny because she says that all the time. Like, I don't know where you got this because it's definitely not for me. My mom's sister is very crafty. Growing up, I remember she would always make stuff for our house, and she did like I always remember she would do like little terracotta pots. Like if you remember, like in the 90s, they would make like bunnies for Easter and Christmas stuff and like paint them, and she would do all that kind of stuff. My grandma is huge into home decor, my dad's mom.
Okay.
Growing up, like her house, like for every season was always, meticulously decorated. So I feel like I got some of that from her. Um, and yeah, I think really that's kind of where it came from. I remember doing stuff with my great grandma Eula. That's where I learned to sew, and she would do like different things with yarn. And then also my mom's mom, she did crocheting. She would sew as well. I still sleep with a silk pillowcase to this day because my grandma would make those for me when I was little.
Nice.
So a lot of little bits and pieces that kind of come together to be the decor and the DIY and all those things.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love how it all kind of meshes together. By the way, Annalie, please be careful. I see her in the car.
Yeah, that's dedication. Oh my gosh.
Because you got an upcoming show. We want to make sure you make it there. And I just saw her out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, oh, she's driving. So the creative gene, do you think you'll pass that down to is it your son or your daughter? I apologize for not knowing that already.
Finn, yeah, my son. I think so. I mean, I plan to do stuff. I selfishly, like, we made like one of those little salto ornaments for Christmas. He was not a huge fan, but he's also not one yet. So I mean, we'll see. I feel like I'll be one of those parents that, like, whatever he wants to do, he can definitely do. Like, that's how my parents were with us, like, if you want to be artsy, cool. If you want to do sports, cool. But yeah, I mean, I would love to do that. I wonder, maybe if he'll like more of the woodworking type stuff,
Yeah.
because Alex gets involved in that too. But I
Oh,
hope
yeah.
so. I mean, you always want your kids to like the stuff you like to do, but we'll see. We've got a little ways till he's able to use a glue gun and dangerous things like that.
You were telling us about, how you gave birth to him kind of right before the pandemic. I bet that was wonderful for your mom and your mother-in-law and family, because you didn't have to worry about the COVID restrictions or anything. Then you could actually see everybody in the hospital, and everybody could be together. So your timing on that was perfect.
Yeah, I planned it, right?
You guys made
Well,
that
it was
perfect.
funny. Yeah, I mean, it was actually funny because I was supposed to be induced the week after. And we went in on my 40-week appointment, and they had told me Finn was 9 pounds, so he was not a little kid. And so I had said, is there any reason why we're waiting another week? And they were like, yeah, okay, we can do this tonight. And like, that was the best thing that could have ever happened.
That was
But
mom's intuition saying something is coming. I need to get this kid out. And
it was actually my mom that told me. She was like, ask the doctor. So yeah, definitely grandma and mom intuition for sure. But yeah, I mean, I look back and I'm like, how did that line up that well? I have no idea, but I'm so glad it did.
Probably was grandma also being like, grandma's being like, come on, grandma's like, I have a
yeah, right.
in my heart.
First grandkid. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, the first one too.
Yeah, first one.
This is what happens when you're the first and the only boy on both sides of the family until I was 13 years old. This is why I'm spoiled rotten. Let me just tell you right now, spoiled rotten. And then when they did have other ones, well, my sister, but she was 4 years apart, but I was the only grandson for 13 years before the other ones came along.
And, so you got all the attention, all the boy stuff.
Oh yeah, I got all the attention. This is why I'm spoiled rotten at 51 years old still. Do you think that, like, what do you think your neighbors think of what you do for a living? Do they know you're a YouTuber?
So, I mean, to be totally honest, there's a lot of people that don't know as of today that I'm full-time doing this. This is kind of the first time I'm actually talking about it, so there might even be people that I haven't talked about it with.
Nice.
My neighbors know that I was in corporate communications, but they do know that I have a channel because they see me outside spray painting and staining. And it's funny because my one neighbor, he'll always yell like, "Oh, there's another video. What are you making today?" And so that's funny. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and their wives are like, "Well, check it out." I mean, I'm Facebook friends with them, so they see when I share stuff. But I mean, other than, all in good fun, they think it's cool. Especially when I tell people about it. I don't know if they expect to go and like see like, okay, she made 2 videos and like it has maybe like 3 views or something, and like I'm very humble about it. I don't really talk about like, hey, I have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But when people go and click on that, they're like, oh, you've made like hundreds of videos. I'm like, yeah, I have. I'm like, what do you think you were gonna find?
Yeah.
But
It's like,
other than
this is a
that,
real job. This is a real job too.
yeah, I'm like, all the stuff you see me staining, here's the end product.
Yeah. Yeah. You made a comment just a minute ago, and then earlier when we chatted, you told me about this, but you left your full-time corporate job for
I did.
YouTube full-time, and I want to know what that transition is like. Because I mean, I'll be honest, I would love to say at some point that maybe that'll happen to me, but I don't know. I don't know because I like my benefits and stuff too. So tell us about that process because I'm sure a lot of us would like to get there at some point.
Totally. So I want to preface this whole thing with this was not me being at a position where I said, okay, I feel like I'm ready to do this. Let's do
Yeah.
this.
I'm rich. I can do this.
Yeah. It actually was more on the job side. So I've shared on my channel and fin updates that I did struggle a lot with postpartum anxiety and depression. And I think, COVID obviously didn't help. And
Sure.
so I was working for a large food distributor. I'd been with them with the past 4 years, and I was pretty successful in the trajectory that I had. I had a boss that really saw potential in me, and I was able to be promoted, and it was on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. And the past year has really made me realize that the currency that's the most important in my life right now is time. And I think really that came with being a mom. When I did not have a child and, Alex and I could have our time on the weekends, I could work till 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night and it wasn't a huge deal. Even though I was working remote, I was working till, 10 o'clock at night. And a lot of people do that and it's totally cool. And, they're very dedicated to their job and no shade to that whatsoever. But something inside of me was really just not feeling aligned. And then, just a couple of things happened, workloads got increased and it just got pretty bad. So I was really unhappy and I was blessed that I had a channel that was already bringing in money. I didn't have to start from ground zero and I've always wanted to do this. And so now I'm focusing on, building that, building a blog, kind of diversifying the Whiskey and Wit brand, if you will, versus just a YouTube channel, and kind of figuring out where that can take it. I worked in marketing in that job. So I feel like I've got a good kind of background for that. I went to school for TV news. So got a bunch of random little fun facts and tidbits that I have that I can pull from for this. So
Nice.
yeah, basically, long story short, it was not to a point where I was like, I feel great. I can jump into this YouTube thing, head first. It was more so I have this and I'm gonna make a conscious choice to pivot. And I think sometimes in life, I'm just very blessed and, thankful that I was in a situation where my husband we could transfer the benefits and do all that stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, we're going to try to make a go at this. And, so far I'm a week in. It's been great. More time with Finn. I crafted in the middle of the afternoon today on a Friday, which I've never done.
Not
It's
like you
usually
called
like,
it sick, right?
yeah, it's crazy. It's like, wait, I can like craft, in the middle of the week and, I can plan out content and all that. So, yeah, we'll see, but that's currently where I'm at.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I know that that had to be a scary thing for sure, and it's a lot of us I feel like want to get to that point in our lives for sure. Um, when you started growing, I know you're around the 60,000 mark, but when you started to get to that point where you would have brands that would reach out to you, and it would be the brands that like didn't want to pay you but they want to send you fun stuff, and
Yeah.
they'd be like, hey Whitney, we want to send you this gold dog stapler in exchange for 600 YouTube videos and 400 Instagram posts. How do you manage that type of relationship, and then how did that lead into, you know, like Cricut and brands like that that are actually paying you? What is your advice for newbies when they get to that point where those those tape dispenser people are reaching out to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think initially you have to be aware that people, you're probably not going to get a paid deal right off the bat.
Sure.
You kind of have to build that. But the other thing that's great is so many companies are pivoting to look at, those mid-level or even those micro influencers,
Absolutely.
because you're able to connect with an audience in a different way than someone with 500,000, a million, 2 million, etc. And it's really, they're looking at it like how they would back in the day, where it's like, okay, do I want to put my ad on a billboard? Do I want to put it on a bus? Do I want to put it in a magazine?
Right.
It's a similar thing, but they're looking at, okay, do I want to go with someone that's got 25,000 followers, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I think initially, and when I first started, I know that when I followed different people, crafting or not, and they shared something and you just felt like when you looked at it, you were like, they got paid for that. That doesn't fit.
Totally. Yeah.
I didn't ever want that I didn't want anybody that looked at my content to feel that way.
Yep.
Like, oh, they probably just paid her for that. She's going to endorse anything that throws money that way. Like, that would be my first piece of advice, is like, think about when you put out a product, whether they pay you or not, or just send you free stuff,
Yep.
people are probably going to buy that, or they're at least going to think about buying it because you're building trust with your audience.
Sure.
And so that is the biggest thing to me when people reach out to me, like, no matter what those dollars look like, if that's not something that I got excited about or would spend my own money on, like, I got to pass.
Yep. Yep.
Because it's a long game. It's not a short game.
Sure.
So in the long run, I mean, if they say, okay, we're going to send you even if it's just product, a year's worth of XYZ thing, but I don't feel like it's a good fit or something that I would work with,
Yep.
like, that could set you back so much further than the product, the money, etc. So that's my first piece of advice. My second piece of advice, and this is something that I'm still working on, so it's not like I'm not preaching something I've learned, it's something I'm working as well, is knowing your worth, and not feeling like you have to hit a certain number before you can ask for a dollar amount, before you can. There were a lot of times where I've talked to fellow YouTubers, fellow influencers in general. And the great thing is to have friends that you can bounce this off of and say, like, hey, like, 'cause there's no
creative on the cheap.
Yeah. And Courtney has been one of those people for me. Courtney was my first friend on YouTube, and I gotta shout her out. She's my bud. But yeah,
Me as well.
being able to just say, like, hey, do you feel like this is like ballpark right? Do you feel like this is under, like, and just being able to talk to somebody, because there's no playbook for, like, okay, you hit 5,000, you charge this much. I wish there was. It would make life a lot easier. It's kind of like in corporate America where, you have to go in and negotiate your salary, and, like, you could negotiate the exact same way, but you could be making totally different than somebody else.
Absolutely.
Totally get that's the way it is, but knowing, okay, this is my bottom, and I'm not going to let them negotiate back with me, because brands, you have to understand, like, they're not all bad people. I don't mean that, but, like, they're trying to get what they need to get for the lowest amount. They're trying to hit a budget.
Yeah,
like when you go to Dollar Tree, you're buying some at Dollar Tree because you don't want to spend $50 at Kirkland's. So you have to think about it that way. And I think that's helped me because I've been in a corporate marketing, field where I've had to be on the other side of the computer working with influencers and working with, okay, here's your following, here's the deliverables, here's my budget, etc. But knowing your worth and knowing to walk away if they're not willing to pay, or willing to work with you or see your worth, that's a huge thing. So one, I would say the two biggest things are, one, just looking at, making sure you feel good about the stuff you put your name behind, and two, knowing your worth, which I'm still working on that, but it's an ongoing process.
No, I love that. And I think that that's super important. I know that when I first started, I was trapped in the, oh my God, I'm getting this for free. I'm getting, because I love something.
Oh yeah.
Tell you what, I love something.
I do too.
Free.
Who doesn't?
I have a house, and there was a company that reached out to me, and it was for a security camera system, like a Wi-Fi security camera, spotlight kind of a thing. And it was like a $260 camera, and I was like, heck yeah! And I remember trying to incorporate it into a DIY, and I was just like, oh my God, this is not making sense at all. And it was so painful. And I ended up like setting it up and then like filming myself spray painting something with it and like trying to, and it just didn't feel organic or real at all. And that's when I was just like, okay, we're not going to make this mistake anymore, and I thankfully got out of that trap fairly early. And it's hard. It's definitely hard. And then when you get to the point of making money and getting those brands, Courtney, I think, actually told me this too. I have an article that I will try and find and put in the chat. I was looking for it while we were chatting, but it's like how to build a social media rate card. And it kind of gives some average rates on like Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and things. And if you have X amount of followers, and kind of what you should be charging per thousand. And that's kind of what I set my baseline on, I guess. But then it's not something that I use as my standard. And I'm telling all of you this for a reason too, that are kind of approaching this side of the YouTube world. Courtney brought up a really good point, and she said, you want to get a full list of what they expect, because they might want 3 YouTube videos, and they might want 2 Instagram posts with stories, with the swipe, with this. And, all of those things have value. Those are all things that you are, paying for one way or another, whether it's your time or anything else. And, as much as that security camera is really cool, that security camera is still sitting in the box. I never set that camera up other than to film with it. And then I put it in the closet, and I've not used it since. So, it's just one of those things. I want to open this up for other folks that might have questions as well. We're having some problems with the Zoom and letting you guys unmute. So if you can't unmute, wave your hand and I will unmute you. Crafted by Corey, I saw you first, so I'm going to ask to unmute you now. You have to accept it on the screen though. There you go. Actually, Corey, we can't hear you. Uh-oh.
Darn Zoom.
I could hear you earlier. Let me see. I'm going to do it again. Let me see. I'm asking to unmute you again. Nope, can't hear you. Corey, can you write it on a piece of paper and show it like
this? Or chat it.
Or yeah, you can send it to me in chat. Who else has a question in the meantime? Courtney from Creative on the Cheap. Or was that a sneeze? I couldn't tell.
Am I unmuted?
Yep.
Was that a sneeze?
Because you kind of did one of these things.
My brain is still cold. Okay. Okay, so my question is this. I know you incorporate updates with Finn in your channel, which I love. But I want to know, do you have plans to expand your, do you have desires to do other content that's not just DIY and like minimal, Finn updates, I guess? Because like vlogs, or I don't know, like big,
like another channel maybe.
Yeah, like I don't know, another channel, or just, because I know you love thrift flips too. That was our first collab ever together. So do you have plans to, do you want to do like organization videos and things like that, or do you think you're just gonna niche into DIY? That's my question.
That's a good question. So with the Finn piece, that actually just came out of the need to share updates with my family during COVID. And so I did not have I posted one video of like, hey, I'm pregnant, just to let people know, because at some point they were going to see that I had that belly and be like, whoa, when did that happen? And so I did that and got a pretty good response. So then I just kind of started adding more content. And then once the pandemic hit, I've just kind of been doing updates. My plan for that is just to kind of do a 1-year update for him. And then who knows? I mean, if there's interest, I try to follow what people are telling me they like to watch. But also, I mean, if you look at those views, like it's so much less than, but those videos, honestly, like they could get 5 views, to be totally honest, because I have those memories to look at when he's older. And so sometimes, like, I don't have anybody being like, I'm unsubscribing because you shared your kid. And if they did, like, maybe they're not, a crafting bud that I want to have. But at the same, at the same time, I would love to do more, thrift flips and wood builds and, sharing different things. I've tried to keep my channel as wide as I can within reason, so that when I'm like, oh, hey, I want to share this, then I can.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, never say never. Right now, I'm just trying to get the whole like situation down with doing this full time. But yeah, I think eventually I know who to call when I'm gonna expand to ask how to do such things.
How do
I call you about everything anyway. So
so I think this kind of plays on to Corey's question. I think she still can't unmute herself.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, yay.
So totally relate to what you were saying about corporate America and marketing. That's my world, and I would love to be able to retire and do this full time. But you mentioned about diversifying your brand, and I'm curious. You mentioned your blog. I recently started a blog, so I'm trying to figure that all out. But what else are you doing to diversify your brand? What are you focusing on, and how are you evolving that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. First step is diversifying the platforms that I'm on. I am a big fan of Jenna Kutcher, the Gold Digger podcast. There are a ton of findings in there, but one of the things she really talks about is at the end of the day, you don't own any social media followers that you have. If you think about it, like if they shut down YouTube tomorrow, like I would be screwed with the people that like, how do they find me? How do you connect with me in a place that I control and own? I mean, you don't own the internet, but you know what I mean?
Sure.
So by having a blog that could then parlay into an email list so that I have control and communication with the people that enjoy what I'm doing. So then God forbid, when everybody was panicking that TikTok was going to shut down, like all those people that had millions of followers and that was the only platform that they have. It's like all your eggs in one basket. Yeah. And that either shuts down or your account gets hacked or, fill in the blank, then especially if that's a source of income for you, it's like, whoa.
Right.
So that's where I want to get. Also, I've learned that not everybody is on YouTube. Not everybody likes to sit and watch a 20-minute video. A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. A lot of people are only on TikTok. A lot of people are only on Facebook. So trying to figure out, where do other people find their crafting inspiration or, whatever content I share, and find folks that way. I share a lot of cut files. So figuring out, is there a way to have a brand of that? Is there a way to sell some of the stuff that I make? All of these are just ideas, nothing has been set in stone, but really just thinking about, how do you not stay in one lane? And how do you stay in the lane of your brand so people know your voice and know who you are, but how do you reach people in different ways so that, they can experience your brand in a different way?
Nice. Very cool. So we've got a couple people that had their hand up, their virtual hand up. Sandy, I don't know if you were able to unmute or not. If not, go ahead and ask your question in the chat and I will get to it. And then, Teresa, I'm going to ask you to unmute right now so you can ask your question. Teresa B DIY. Teresa, is that the name of your channel also, by the way?
That is the name of my channel.
Okay, perfect. So when everybody asks their question, if you have a channel, please go ahead and share it before you ask your question with Whitney. So Teresa B DIY, what is your question for Whitney?
So Whitney, first, I'm a really big fan. I've been watching you way before I started YouTube, which granted that wasn't that long ago, but my question for you is, what are your tips on balancing your when you did it, your corporate job and your YouTube life?
Good question.
That's a great question. So it's a two-part answer because I did it before I had a child and now being a mom. So beforehand, before I had Finn, it would mainly be at night. I had my light kit. I'd break that out. I would go get my supplies at lunch from work, and really it wasn't necessarily a balance. I don't have a ton of advice on how to balance that. It's really just a hustle outside of work. But for me, it was a stress relief. So I didn't mind that, at lunch I could run and go get photos for my Instagram or go get supplies from Dollar Tree. And then at night I would be up till 10, 11 o'clock at night editing videos, to get them out, and a lot of weekend work. Now I try to batch work as much as I can. Now I've got more time. But when I was balancing mom and work and channel and all the things, I would look and say, okay, for the next 2 weeks, what do I have to do? I've got a collab here. I've got an Instagram sponsorship, this. Okay, I need to stain these things. Okay, I got to stain this all at once. I got to paint these things. I've got to spray paint this, whatever that looks like. And really you hear people batch content. I would batch my craft supplies or my craft projects, just because it's like, okay, you stain, you've got way too many. So for the next 3 weeks, if there was a project with stain on it, I was doing it on that one Sunday in that 1 hour, because that's just how I was able to maximize the time that I had. I also think it's huge to keep in mind, like when you hit a point where you feel like your channel is giving you stress, step away. Especially if you are in a situation where you've got your job and this is just a plus. There were points where, my husband would come over, I craft in our dining room, and it would be like 10:30 and he'd be like, you look exhausted. You need to take a minute. Like, unless it was like sponsored.
Like, I have to craft.
Yeah, right. If I hadn't signed a contract or it wasn't like a collab somebody was waiting on, it will be there tomorrow. And I think that's a huge part of balance. I feel like, especially in the social media realm, YouTube or Instagram or whatever you're looking at, it's a comparison thing. And so it's like, I have to get this video done because such and such posted 2 videos this week and I got to have a video. And like that will drive you insane. So just try to focus on yourself. It's way easier said than done, but try to, focus on, okay, I'm stressed out right now. I need to step away, and that project will be there tomorrow. If I post a video on Thursday and not Wednesday, it's cool. And that's what I've learned over the years, to try to keep your sanity. And, when it's not fun, take a breather, because it should be fun. It's cool. You get to make craft projects and share it with the world,
Absolutely, yeah. Sandy, I'm going to give you a chance. See if
I'm here.
Yay! Okay.
Yay.
Oh, by the way, before your question, Sandy, I want to call out the Paper Owl, essential worker. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. I see you sitting there with your mask on and your scrubs, and you're at work. And I just want to let you know that we appreciate you and thank you for being here as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Sandy, go for it.
You guys are giving like gold nuggets, like holy, this great advice. And
good.
Corey had asked about the diversifying, and you had said you kind of aim wide. Like for a beginner channel, like I have some goals of like, I love woodworking, so tools, the Cricut.
She's like the Cricut whisperer. Sandy's got like the Cricut game. Like,
I love my Cricut.
I love that it's in your background.
Yes.
Perfect.
It's my baby. My babies are all grown up, so this is my baby. So just diversifying, like tools, Cricut. I love pyrography, anything to do with wood burning.
Is that what it's called? Pyrography?
Yeah, pyrography.
It's a fun word.
I'm gonna add that to my like channel name. Pyrography.
You need to add that.
People are gonna be like, "What the hell is that?"
No one will search for it.
Google it.
Yeah.
Courtney showed this really cool pen, and I was like, "I need that pen." It's for like,
the scorch marker.
Yes. It's in my Amazon cart.
Oh my God, they are so fun, Jamie.
I'm gonna stop cutting you off, and I'm gonna go order it right now. Sandy, go ahead and ask your question.
You need to get that. That's better than a wood burner, actually. So is that too wide? Am I aiming too wide? Like, do you kind of like focus in on one, or?
So yeah, that's a big question. And I think
Yeah.
with things like that, it's really channel specific. I
Okay.
think if you look at what, and this is something I had to learn the hard way, if you look at what other people are doing and you try to do that, you're just
No,
basically another one of them.
no.
And if they've got more followers, if they've got more whatever, then you're kind of in just like a hamster wheel that you can't get off.
Yeah.
I think one, it's important to do stuff that you enjoy because that's what will keep you engaged. I mean, especially if you're talking just YouTube in general, it's a long game. You know, unless you have a viral video, like it's a slow burn to build, you know, and it starts to snowball, you know, the more people that you have, the more chances you have for things to get shared. But I think one, it's things that you like doing, but two, it's what your audience likes watching. I was so scared to do my first Cricut video because all I had done before that was Dollar Tree stuff. And, you know, you get some people that are like, okay, I don't have a Cricut, which is totally fine, you know, but there are a lot of people that do, and I want to share this content. And that ended up being my biggest video last year. Could have fooled me. I almost didn't post it. Like,
Oh,
and
wow.
so a lot of it is research and development. It's
Okay.
putting out stuff that you like
Yeah.
and that you think people will like. I mean, what value can you bring? You know, what can you teach folks? And then, you know, put some out there. I mean, I think for me, I try to do about 75-80% of my content that's my tried and true. Like, I know people are going to click on that because that's how they found me. But then you have like a 20-25% kind of wiggle room where, you know, I wouldn't go completely off the deep end and do something, you know, like if I posted a makeup video, people would be like, did you lose your mind? But, you know, I can post about my family and share a little bit about that. I can share a little bit about thrift flips that aren't necessarily Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby projects. So I think to answer your question specifically, you, especially when you're starting out, that's the time to take it a little bit wide because that's when you can post a ton of different types of videos, look at them, you know, and aggregate your numbers and say, okay, here are my top 3. This is what I need to lean into. And maybe this is a lower thing. But like I said before, I liked making update videos for my son. So like it wasn't a huge deal to me that those weren't, you know, the huge view getters. So I would just post a lot of stuff that you like and see what people are liking and go from there.
Thanks.
Great advice. Thank you.
By the
Yeah.
way, I ordered the Scorch pen while Sandy was asking the question.
I love it.
And I forgot that I had a rug in my Amazon cart as well, and I bought that too. So
Hi, boy, Jamie.
Friday night retail therapy. I love it.
this is what happens when you have a little whiskey with your online ChitChat show. Annie, you have your question.
So hi, first of all, okay, this is amazing to have all these wonderful crafters here, and especially you, Whitney. This is just fabulous. I love the fact that you talked about your background in marketing. And one of the most important things that you always hear about when you're marketing is knowing your audience and understanding your audience. And as Sandy was saying before, because it's funny, because I'm trying to stay away from like farmhouse. I don't know why. It's like I'm just trying to stay away from farmhouse, but I feel like hurt me and might take me out of that audience, you know.
Call it modern farmhouse or industrial farmhouse.
Modern or shabby chic farmhouse. I don't know. You know, it's just not my, it's, you know, it's just like gnomes. Like I was forced. I have
Gnomes.
I have accepted the gnome. I've done one gnome. That's all the gnomes I'm going to do. But
I'm doing a gnome as well. Somebody twisted my arm.
But you know, it's like, how do you please yourself? Like almost what Sandy was saying, how do you actually really please yourself without losing a huge audience? Because it's like, here, these are the catchphrases that are out there: high end, farmhouse, you know, boho. But if it's not what you like, are you lost in the miasma of crafters out there?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think COVID, it is insane how much the pandemic has gotten people to A, get into DIYs, and B, start channels, which I think is great. I mean, it's accessible, like cool, like, you know, like I did the same thing, like good on you. But I also think that there's no better time than right now to either take a step slightly out of that lane or take a bigger step out of that lane. Since the beginning, like, I make so much stuff that if I'm not going to put it in my house, like, I'm just going to have a pile of stuff. And so I have a farmhouse decor house. So that's what I make. But if you don't have that around your house, like, if you aren't into that, I'm sure there's other people. I've seen comments of people that are like, oh, thank God, like, this isn't farmhouse. Like, farmhouse isn't for everyone. And so, maybe it's similar to the diversification of your content, where if you feel like you really got to do that, then maybe you do, okay, this is what I know is going to do really well in SEO. But then here's what I'm going to try to, get my audience from over here. I don't think you have to do farmhouse. I mean, if you're trying to grow, I think it's smart to piggyback off of all those things. But if you feel like it's like crushing your soul to like make another farmhouse sign, like, please don't do that either. Like, because that's not fun for you.
Sure. And I think it'll show, it'll show.
Oh yeah.
There's something that you're really not into. And, I also think that the YouTube audience is so large and broad that there's something for everybody. They might be in the closet, but there's still some farmhouse people out there. There's still, there's still a lot of different variety that's out there for sure.
Oh yeah.
I saw somebody else that waved their hand, and I think Paper Owl, can you unmute yourself? If not, I will ask to unmute you right now. There you are.
Oh, I think I got it.
Hi.
Yay.
Hi.
Hi.
So, I'm Amber. I started my channel as the Paper Owl. So, with you doing, corporate work before and then kind of segueing into doing YouTube full time, how hard of a decision was that for you? Like, did you really have to kind of like crunch numbers, or were you like, you know what, it's time, I'm ready, let's do this?
Yeah, that's a loaded question for me, for my situation. And I could probably talk about that for days. But a huge chunk of the reason that I made my decision is because I was in just a bad spot with my job. And so that's different than just looking at, okay, I'm matching my salary, or I'm making enough, here, like, I walked away from a good job that I had worked really hard to get to, but it was crushing my soul. As my mom shaking her head, like, I had family that were like, are you okay? Like, you're not yourself. You're not bubbly. You're not how how you've been. And we were lucky in a situation that, with my YouTube money, because I was working, we really didn't need that to pay our bills. So we were able to put that away and save. So a lot of my YouTube money from last year is helping me kind of get this all figured out. I think when you're making a big life change like that, it's never an easy decision.
Yeah.
But I also feel like decisions like that, like, while you want to be really smart about it, you're never going to feel 100% ready.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like when you decide to start a family, if that's what path you want to go down, like, there wasn't a day where I'm like, I feel 110% ready to be a mom and like get pregnant and have a kid. Like, no, you're terrified, but you do it because you want the outcome. And so I'm not telling anybody to like go quit their job. Like, everybody's situation is different. Yeah, right. Or any of that. But, you got to do you. But I do also think that, if you feel like you've looked at the dollars and you can make it work, like, yeah, it's going to be scary, but if you can do it, good on you. But yeah, no, it was not an easy decision. But, for me, I was, in a mental space where something had to give. And I was, grateful that I had this channel that I could continue to grow and, make money from. If that answers your question.
It sounds like your day job, if you will, was fine. I mean, it was a good job as far as, you liked it, you enjoyed what you were doing, but it just got to a point where it wasn't sustaining you and fulfilling you like the other things were in life. And you kind of
totally
shifted priority and moved things around. Before you had mentioned how, like, when you get into your creative spurts, if you will, and like you'll have the staining day where you'll stain all your projects. Or do you have creative spurts like that where you may crank out like 6, 7, 8, 9 projects kind of all at once, and you've got just things that you can bank for a couple of videos? Or like, where do you get your inspiration from?
I get my inspiration from a lot of places. Half the time I'm walking through a store and I see something and I'm like, man, don't want to spend $50 on that. I could make it.
Yep.
Or you see something, I like to look at like Kirkland's a lot. Like I've done a lot of Kirkland's inspired stuff. I mean, I love everything in there, but cannot afford to buy everything in there. So, how to do that. I also love Pinterest. I like Etsy, in the sense of supporting other creators to, purchase their cut files, but then make something myself, or just get inspiration from that. Or if I get to a point where I'm like, hey, I might as well just support them. I'm huge on that too. I know I do like free files and things like that, but I'm the first person to say like, purchase this from somebody else. But yeah, I mean, really there's inspiration everywhere. I've went to people's houses before and they've had decor and I've taken pictures and went home and been like, okay, this will work, like
You're
family's house.
Oh, so how's it going today? Taking pictures.
Oh, I'm not even like that. I'm like, hey, I really like this. I'm going to take a picture. Or like I've taken pictures of families' houses and been like, yeah, I'm going to post this on my Instagram. Thanks.
Nice.
They know at this point, but yeah, it's really just kind of everywhere. Or the other thing is too, I've got this hole in my mantle. I need something about this tall. I need some with words on it. I need something that has stain, it really just depends. But there's not just like one spot that I get it. It's kind of from everywhere. But
nice.
That like gets me excited. So it's like, oh, I can make that. I can make that. I can make that.
I love that.
About selling any of your stuff?
That's a good question. So Whiskey and Wit actually started as like a sign business. I made money to pay off credit card debt before my wedding. My husband is like one of the most frugal people. Yeah. And I had a ton of credit card debt. I was like, I can't get married and let him know how much debt I have. To be totally honest, he knows this now. But I sold, it was the year the Cubs won the World Series. So I made ornaments and things. So I think eventually, yeah, I would love to be able to sell decals and things like that. And I think now, now that I've got time, will be the time to think about doing that. I have sold stuff like locally, but nothing, not like an Etsy shop or anything like that. No.
Cool. Miss Marby, you've got your hand up, your virtual hand up. Can you unmute yourself? Okay. Zoom. What's going on? All right, go for it.
Hi. I don't have a channel. So I'm very humbled by everybody here that does. So I'm just kind of taking it all in. Have you ever tried to do something like repeatedly over and over again and then finally just said, you know what, I can't? Like whether it's a wood sign or working with vinyl, and you try and then you're just like, you know what, I'm gonna have to come back to this another time.
Oh yeah, all the time. I'm human. And I try, I mean, nobody wants to watch like a long video of fails, but I try like when I can work it in to be like, I screwed this up. Like I'm trying to remember. Oh, it was my Cricut video for Christmas. So I was working with them. And when you work with a sponsor, it's like, okay, I've got to make this like 8 times better than my normal stuff because there's money involved and all this. And I made this pillow and I was using Buffalo Check infusible ink, but it was black and white. And I put it on a white pillow cover and it looked terrible. And I had spent like an hour and a half, like getting it all ready. And I lost my mind. And then I looked at Alex and I was like, I need to post this on my story because people need to know, because I feel like people are like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get this? They do it and it's really quick. Like, no, I screw up all the time. It's just you guys don't want to watch that. So I don't want to like make tons of videos of fails, but I try to work that in because especially when you're talking like Cricut and like, if you're new to building with wood and stuff, like, and you can't figure it out, you're like, what's wrong with me? It's so easy to them. Why can't I do it? And so, yeah, but yeah, that happens to me all the time. And I try to be as transparent as I can, you know, to be like, oh yeah, I screw up all the time.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I have said lots of bad words. Many times.
Oh yeah. Burnt my hand with the glue gun, you
Oh,
know, like
yeah.
dumped the stain you know, like
Yeah.
it happens. Like
And
probably
I'll get-
everything they've
I'll get
done, I've
people
done.
that'll comment and they'll be like, oh my God, you burned your hand. I can see it. And I'm like, I did. Next.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, so we've got a few more minutes left in this episode. Does anybody else have any questions? If not, I want to talk about some of the upcoming stuff that we've got. We're super excited about it. And then Whitney, you are going to do the drawing for the Shore Bonder thing. But I had the window open and I closed it out. Now I gotta find it again. All right, so coming up, we've got Kristen K DIY. She'll be on the show here on March 5th. And then on Friday, March 29th, Bargain Bethany will be on. So I'm super excited about that. And then April is actually my birthday month, and we're going to celebrate my birthday all month long. And you guys know Sarah Jane from Chic on the Cheap. Sarah Jane is actually going to do a little role reversal, and she is going to interview me on the ChitChat Show. So if you guys want to hear more about my background, my acting background, my television background, that's the show to be on. And that one will be on April 2nd, I believe. And I see Ms. Barbie, do you have another question or? Okay, go for it. I got to unmute you. Damn Zoom. Okay, go for it. And then Garrett, you'll be next, but I know you're not Garrett. You're really somebody else, but go ahead.
What do you have your like go-to followers, or not followers, like influencers or other Instagrammers? Like if I'm like stuck creatively, I have a handful of Instagrammers, including yourself, that I'll go to just for like inspiration, to kind of like, if I'm stuck creatively, to get me in that like, okay, this is where I want to take it. Do you have those people that you go to?
Yes. So I have people that I am fans of myself, people that have had channels, you know, before me, currently. If you've ever watched our mystery box challenge, the people that are typically on that playlist are my people. Hey, you did so good.
I meant to call you out on that at the beginning.
I'm trying to think. So Courtney's on the call. I'm not just saying that. I definitely, she makes amazing stuff. If you don't already follow her, Jennifer at A Little Bit of Calm and Crazy, Kristen K. I love Sarah Jane, Megan over at Glue Guns and Roses. I mean, she never ceases to amaze me with the stuff that she makes with her stuff. Yeah. That's a lot of like Dollar Tree stuff. On Instagram, I love New Build Newlyweds. I tell everyone about them. It's a husband and a wife. They took their builder's grade home and like did a ton of stuff there. Her Happy Home on Instagram too, Amanda. I've gotten pretty close with her over there. She's got great stuff. Yeah, let me think about it. I know that I can find you because you've messaged me before, so I can send you some of my other recommendations. But
amazing.
Yeah, I've got favorites on all different platforms. So
and then Garrett, who is not Garrett.
Garrett, who is not Garrett. Hi, I'm Pam.
I'm Pam.
It is a girl name. That Garrett is my daughter, who has just left for college and obviously took over my Zoom account, unknowns to me. So
love it.
But I am in Texas, so Courtney, right there with you. But I'm a little further north, where I thought we would have more problems than you, but I think it's actually been a little better here. We had just a short amount of time with no power. So pleasure to be here. Not currently anyone with a channel. I am probably one of the people that began watching because of COVID, as you were saying, people who have found YouTube because of that.
Oh, cool.
I have a full-time, part-time job, and so there's possibilities here, but I'm not sure where I would go with content either. So being so unfamiliar with the technical side, I'm not saying teach me how or what equipment you use, but like maybe could you direct a place to go to start learning about what you would need filming and producing, you know, editing and those type of things. I'm not asking you to teach me how, but where would I go?
Yeah. So I feel like my situation is like low budge. Just because that I edit everything on iMovie.
Yep.
And that just came with my Mac. So that I don't have any, I do know like After Effects, Adobe Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, because of my TV days, but really I've learned how to make things and import and etc. So you can do anything that you've seen in my videos in iMovie. As far as my camera, I use a, what is it called? A Canon Mark G7X. It's linked in all my description boxes because I get that question a lot. I love it. It takes great photos of my son and it also shoots all my videos. So it's a great jack of all trades. As far as lights, I stole them from my brother. Actually, he let me take them. He had like a clothing flip business. So like really, there's no like roadmap. It's a mixture of what you're willing to invest, you know, what you can invest, you can always upgrade later.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. There aren't really any like specific channels that I want to kind of learn things, but YouTube is a wealth of knowledge.
Wealth of knowledge, yes.
You know, so there's been so many people that have started like how to start a channel in 2021. I would just type that in and you will find a plethora of, and that'll really help too with like SEO and like what to put in your thumbnails and things like that. And it's a mixture of art and science. So it'll be like what they recommend and what you think, you know, is best. But those are some of the places I would suggest to start, if that helps.
And
It does help.
I found a video that was how to start a YouTube channel for less than $100 or something like that.
Okay.
And, I used my iPhone. I just upgraded. I had the iPhone 10 before. This is the 12 Pro Max. And I just got it like a week ago. And it has like 500 and something storage in it. So I'm like, but I use this and I use iMovie and I use a $60 pair of umbrella lights. And that's kind of what I do. And, you know, there's some great things actually in my videos on my channel. I have in the description, I have a links kind of page, and at the kind of towards the bottom of it, there's something that says how to start your own YouTube, or if you want to start a YouTube channel, these are the items that I use. And there was a tripod and things in there too. But yeah, like Whitney was saying, YouTube will give you a lot of ideas on how to do that too. And, you know, don't think that you have to model yourself after somebody. You are enough as you are. And that's the most important thing to know, you know, is that you really bring yourself to your channel, and don't try to fake it. Don't try to make yourself look like Sarah Jane's or Whitney's or Courtney's or Annie's channel. It could be Pam's channel, you know, and like I think I'm a good example. My fingernails will be dirty. I have paint everywhere. I say, you know, we're going to use this lily bush and we all know it's a dogwood. Like there's stuff that just happens and it just comes out and it's just like, yep, that's me. And just embrace who you are and bring it to the camera. And the people that are supposed to follow you and supposed to be in love with you there, they will be there.
Right. Well, my background, number one, I have years on you too, Jamie. So I know that they were saying you do look great, but I have years on you, several, with my grown kids, but I don't know, like I said, I'm feeling something, but I don't know where it comes from. I am a children's director for a church. So I have a few videos that have been put out where I was doing devotionals during COVID because the kids couldn't get to us.
Yeah.
We were like delivering food and things like that. So we'd see the kids maybe once a week, but we were used to them coming to us all summer long. I live in a very small, very poor area. And so we're trying to serve here as much as we can. But it was kind of fun. And we started having people watch our little bitty church's, YouTube channel, because of those videos being posted. So it's kind of, it's like, I don't know where it might go. But I incorporate crafts we are still doing Zoom on Sunday school at this point. So I incorporate crafts and I tell the parents what the kids should bring to the Zoom meeting. I mean, so we've been doing some interesting things. I don't know where it might go, but
that's awesome.
New roads for me to look at. Thank y'all so much for hosting this and allowing us to be here.
Absolutely. I love that too. And I love that, we can bring this kind of forum. Whitney, if you are currently in the gallery view setting where you can see everybody like the Brady Bunch. So I want you to close your eyes.
Oh, geez.
And don't close them yet, because then you won't be able to see what I'm asking you to do. And then I want you to just kind of like scan the screen, kind of like this, touch the squares. And then when I say stop, I'm going to say stop. And that is who is going to win their choice of our Shore Bonder glue gun this evening. And if it's one of our celebrities, I ask that you pass it on to somebody else if you want. If you are in desperate need of a glue gun, it is totally fine to accept the prize. Just know that we may have to figure something out in the future for a trade for somebody. But all right, count of 3. Close your eyes and do the zigzaggy without, disconnecting yourself on the camera. So 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4.
My gosh.
3. Who is the winner?
Oh, look. Brenda Huff.
Brenda Huff. All right, Brenda. So you have your choice. You can either have the Lynn Lily limited edition glue gun from Shore Bonder. This is the one that's kind of that teal and pink color. I have this in the non-Lynn Lily version. Shore Bonder, if you're listening, I would love this one as well. But also you could pick from this mini USB one also, which is also a very good glue gun. This is my favorite though. So Brenda, I don't know if you can unmute yourself. I'm going to ask to unmute you. If you can't, that's cool too. Just
I am so happy, Whitney.
Which one do you think you're going to go with?
I want the teal.
The Lynn Lily. All right, perfect. So Brenda, do me a favor. Email me your mailing address, and I will have Shore Bonder send this out to you, and you'll get it probably within the next couple of weeks. Okay.
Okay. Also, I got a surprise for you.
For who?
You. You remember you were talking about how it was hard to find pizza pans at Dollar Tree?
Yeah.
Guess who got pizza pans at Dollar Tree?
Shut up.
Me. Yep.
Did you buy
I got enough to hook you up too, because you said that you couldn't get them. So
that's very nice. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you, Whitney.
I was told Dollar Tree is discontinuing the pizza pans.
Well, that's what I asked, because I talked to the manager and I said, I heard they might be discontinuing them. She told me to go online and punch it in. And if it brings it up, then they're not discontinuing it. Oh. So that's what I did. I just ordered a case of 24.
Oh my gosh. Don't send me 24. Please don't send me
24. Well, no, I'm going to use some too.
Send me like 2. Send me like 2. We'll figure something out. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Guys, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., if I don't forget, I am going live on YouTube. I'm doing a massive Dollar Tree haul. It is over $100 worth of items. I literally have 6 bags of goodies that I'm sharing with all of you guys. And it's everything from some new stuff, some spring stuff, some like utility stuff, some repetition stuff. And that's going to be going on tomorrow. And then at 11:45, I will have a new thrift flip video coming up. Whitney, I think you and I should do some thrift flipping challenge.
Yeah.
Something, and maybe we can see if Courtney and I don't know about you guys, if you've not followed Annalee's channel, she is a badass with some power tools. And she has, I'm going to unmute.
Yeah, your rotary saw. She kills it with that.
Has some I like want to call Annalee and be like, hey girl, come to Atlanta because I need some help with this house.
Oh, I would love to. I would.
Let's do it. I got a wall right there we can tear down. And it's not a support wall. I've already verified it. Let's expand the kitchen.
Flatter.
She's either frozen or she's just shocked with happiness. I think she's
it's my connection.
All right, you guys. Well,
I'm sorry, guys. I'm in my garage. I'll get better connection.
Yeah, Annalie will be an upcoming guest for sure. I think we've got you on the schedule for May, I believe. But
awesome.
I will confirm that with you. We've got some great folks. Whitney, you've been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for.
Thanks for asking me.
When I got the mystery box challenge and the plunger, I was like, I'm gonna like her. I'm gonna like her. And those
I love those videos.
They're
my favorite.
Sports discs. I'd had those in my own personal stash forever and had no idea what to do with them. I almost sent them to Nicole from the Week's Nest, but I ended up keeping them. And then you sent them to me, and I was like, all right, this is my calling. I have to do something with these now. So it was definitely a lot of fun. And I told Courtney I didn't realize the rules were. I knew that the 3 mandatories were the 3 mandatories, but I didn't know I was supposed to also make stuff with the other items. I'm a bonehead, but I did. I'm slowly making other projects with the other items. So anyway, Whitney, thank you so much. Honestly, it's been an absolute
thank
pleasure.
you.
Very, very cool. You guys can unmute yourselves if you can, so we can say goodbye to Courtney. I'm going to go through and ask everybody to unmute themselves. That way you can say goodbye. I don't know what the hell is tonight.
Thank you so much, Whitney.
For spending your Friday with me. This was so
yes,
fun.
thank you. This was so fun.
It's great.
And Jamie, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes, thanks, Jamie, for hosting.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. Have a
Very
good
cool.
weekend, everybody.
All right. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Warm stuff, right, Courtney? Warm.
Yes, stay warm, Courtney.
Yes, stay warm.
Yeah, Courtney.
But we're better.
Keep those lights
We
on.
are.
Be safe.
Houston, keep the lights on.
Yeah, right?
Bye, everybody. Get the fireplace fixed, too. That's what I'm going to do next.
Big one.
Maybe Annalie can come help me with that.
I will. I'm there. I'm telling you, I'm there.
Awesome. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks. See you guys. Thank you.